Hey guys, my name is Sassy and I am the tour director of Teens Camping Tour of the West. This is the first time I've ever done this. Welcome to my living room. I wanted to record one of these so that folks that couldn't make it to a slideshow or just wanted to see the information again or show it to another parent would be able to. So before we get started, I want to introduce the music that's playing in the background. If you're a country music fan, you might recognize some of the lyrics. If you're not, you won't. The guy singing, his name is Steve Seskin. He is a singer-songwriter. He's written lots of #1 country music hits over the last 30, 40 years. He is a good friend of the tour, and he's gonna pop up a little bit later, so just didn't want that to feel super random. We'll hop right in. Teens Camping Tour of the West. Come see what's yours. Discover America. So this all started back in the summer of 1967. A guy named Peter Cole had a love of working with young people and a love of travel, and he put those things together and Teens Camping Tour of the West was born. 50 some years later, I'm the third director of the tour, and I am just working hard to keep the dream alive by hopefully taking some of you guys out west this summer. Some basic details. We leave from Statesville, North Carolina, a little park in town. We have 2 trips. The first one is June the 8th through the 30th, and the second is July the 6th through the 28th. We travel in a caravan, 3 of these lovely ladies here, 15 passenger vans with a conversion on the top, and also minivan travels along with us. We're gonna pull along 3 trailers. That's where all of your stuff is gonna go, your bags that are all stuffed to the brim, as well as the camping equipment that I'm gonna bring. Tarps, tents, cooking stoves, propane tanks. And then my favorite thing about our rides is that we have our own 2-way radio frequency. That probably doesn't sound super cool to you right now, but after you have caravanned from North Carolina to California and back, being able to talk to the people in the other vans, I think you'll probably think it's pretty cool. And from a staffing perspective, it really helps us out in traffic. We're able to relay directions and all that good stuff to help keep us close together and in tow. So this is the route we take. We're gonna start in North Carolina, head across Tennessee, up through St. Louis, across Kansas, Colorado, say hey to the Great Sand Dunes, make a stop at the Grand Canyon, head in the southern end of California, spend 5 days in Cali, topping out at San Fran, down through Yosemite, breakfast in Vegas, up through Utah, across Wyoming, South Dakota, hit Chicago, and 23 days later, we are back home in North Carolina. We cram a ton into the 23 days that we're gonna spend together. So I'm gonna go through a little day by day, give you the highlights. As I do that, if you look for this little tent, that tells you where we're gonna camp each night, just to sort of help you keep your bearings. So it's Monday morning, bright and early. You're gonna meet me in Statesville to say those long, sad goodbyes to mom and dad, maybe the family dog if she came along today. When you hop on the van, things might be a little awkward with 14 strangers sitting around you, but that fades quickly as we make our way over to Tennessee. We're gonna get there early enough to get a good orientation. I'm gonna show you what's all in the trailers, where you can find the stuff that you need. And then we will play a little friendly game of volleyball. This is second trip from this past year. Ethan here is super excited, he's the staff. That one of these championship volleyball pictures finally made the slideshow. So it's marked in history that he won 1 game. If this is your first night camping, no big deal. You won't be the only one. We'll help you figure out those ground mats and sleeping bags and make sure you get all tucked in nicely for your first night on the trip. On day 2, we're up early as we make our way up to St. Louis. There we're gonna visit the Jefferson Expansion Memorial, better known as the St. Louis Arch, and for us it is the gateway to the West. When we get there, you can't help but look up at the top of the arch. And in the very top, you'll see these tiny little windows, and windows are made for looking out. So we will hop into these little pods here, 5 of you squeeze in there, and ride this little elevator 630 feet to the top of the arch. When you're up there, you can look out those windows and see the Capitol building, the Mississippi River, right into the Cardinals Stadium. And if there is a game tonight, we will pop over there and take that in. We also have a little tradition. We like to leave a little something on the lawn for all to see. That's TCTW and a peace sign, and we spelled that out with our body. It's pretty neat. We're gonna sleep at Graham Cave tonight. I've never seen Graham Cave because we get there pretty late, and we're gonna be back on the road early tomorrow as we make our way across Kansas. Kansas is a pretty long state. So we're going to break that up a little bit with a stop in Abilene, the home of our president, Dwight D. Eisenhower. This is his childhood home up here. Abilene is a quaint little town. It was like it was kind of frozen in time 50 years ago. Cool antique shops and thrift stores. There's a fun little ice cream counter in one of the pharmacies there. After we leave there, we're going to head over to Cedar Bluff, which will likely be one of your favorite campsites. It is big, wide open fields. You can see lots of places to spread out, and that's a lot of stuff right there. If you're curious what you might need to pack for a 23-day camping trip, I make it really easy. I'm going to send you a packing list that is based on 50 years of refinement and experience. It tells you everything you need to bring, all the way down to the number of underwear and socks you need to make it through those 23 days. If you only bring what's on that packing list, you'll have more than enough. There's also a great little beach that you can go swimming there, and we'll have a nice little dinner together tonight and take in a lovely sunset before laying your head down under some amazing stars. Kansas always has phenomenal stars, so get ready to see a shooting star or two tonight before you fall asleep. Okay, so this is a road trip. And we did drive here, and Kansas is about halfway across the country, so you might be wondering what we've been doing in the vans all that time. We find lots of ways to entertain ourselves. You're gonna make friendship bracelets and play all kinds of games, like guessing who's on your the sticky note on your forehead. Maybe a makeover or two. This summer we really loved to see how many things we could stack on Katie's face before she woke up. She was a very heavy sleeper. And you'll find some creative ways to fall asleep as well. If you are intimidated at all by the thought of spending so much time in the vans, talk to any past participant and they'll assure you that some of their favorite memories from out west are times in the vans. Parents, you're probably wondering something a little bit different. Who did I send my teenagers with? And these are pretty typical staff here. We're normally a fun bunch. We're also all past participants of the tour, and I think that says a lot about this experience that 14 other adults figure out how to get 23 days off of their real jobs to be able to come back out west and pass this experience along to you. We're all first aid CPR certified. I'm also a wilderness first responder. We have clean driving records, college degrees, pretty go with the flow. I think you'll like your staff this summer. Back on the road, we've made it to Colorado, and our time here will start in Colorado Springs. We're going to head over to the Air Force Academy, which is a beautiful college campus nestled right along the Front Range of the Rockies. Somehow I picked 3 pictures with no mountains, but I promise the Rocky Mountains are right there and visible from campus. I'm going to encourage you to head over and check out the Cadets Chapel, which is a beautiful church. It's supposed to look like wings pointing to the heavens, and I think it is even more spectacular on the inside, so go check it out. And we also run into a little tradition today. You can imagine that in the 50-some years we've been doing this, we have lots of traditions. In order to get back onto the van this afternoon, I'm going to ask for you to bring a picture back of you kissing a cadet. Ladies, it's pretty easy to find a cadet. Guys, it's a little bit tougher. And if you find a female cadet, she might not let you kiss her either. So this person has on an Air Force shirt. This looks like a cadet. I don't know about this. I think Samuel here might have just snagged a pretty lady. They told me, though, that one of the guys went back into the dorms and asked her if she would come out. So Sam did get a check on the activity. From there, we're headed over to Garden of the Gods. This is a really unique place right in the heart of Colorado Springs. These formations sort of surprise you that they're even there. There's a really awesome visitor center here. You can head in and learn how these formations were made. Then you can walk over into the formations themselves, hike around a little bit, boulder. It's a great way to spend the afternoon. So our campsite tonight is probably going to be one of the more unique places you ever camp. Tomorrow morning, you are waking up at the base of the Great Sand Dunes. Just like the Arch, we're not content just looking at these guys. And I make the exact same mistake every year when I get out of the vans. I get out, I look over, and the dunes look like, I don't know, like this big, not that bad. To give you a little perspective, the St. Louis Arch was 630 feet tall. The dune peak that we're gonna hike to today is 750 feet tall. It's way back here. So it's up a sand stairmaster. And it is a task. We're gonna hike a little bit, we're gonna rest a little bit, we're gonna hike a little bit and rest a little bit more, and we're all gonna struggle the last little bit of the way. But, oh, I love this picture because look at this. You can see how far we've come. That's the vans over there behind those trees. But we'll make it. We'll get to the top, and when you're up there, it is beautiful. The Sangre de Cristo mountain range wrapping around there. The sky is always that beautiful shade of blue. So it's about a mile up to this dune peak that we're hiking up to, and it took us an hour, hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes for us all to get up there. It does not take us that long to get back down. This is pretty typical here. See a few wipeouts happening. It's not uncommon to get sand in all of the nooks and crannies, so we'll take a little time to get that cleaned up as best that we can. Sorry, I gotta flip this through on my computer. And then we're headed over to Durango. This is the first little western town we'll visit together. When we get there, you might see your first cowboy today. Covey here is at probably my favorite ice cream shop of the whole trip. I'll remind you about it when we get there, so head down there and check it out. Lots of cool murals in downtown Durango. When we leave there, we're headed over to Four Corners, the only place in the United States that 4 states come together. Do you know them? Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. You can be in 4 places at once. So we'll make sure we hop into New Mexico so we can check that state off and then take in a little sunset together. The desert always makes for a great sunset. And tomorrow morning, you're waking up at the rim of the Grand Canyon. And we're gonna hike today. We hike on a couple different trails, the Bright Angel, South Kaibab, Hermit Trail, and Grand View. The canyon is spectacular. I could sit and look at it all day long. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do while you guys go hiking today. It's gonna be challenging, probably unlike anything you've ever done before. I love this sign. It says, caution, down is optional, up is mandatory. You get to decide if you go in and how far, but everybody has to turn around and come back out. It's also not unusual for it to be above 100 degrees. The good thing is that it's an arid 100 degrees, not like here and super humid. If you don't know, here for me is Statesville, so North Carolina, so East Coast and humidity. Like I said, it's going to be a challenging day. In order to make sure that you stay hydrated and safe, you are going to hike in a group of 7 with a guide from Arizona Outback Adventures, a great company out of Scottsdale, Arizona. They're going to make sure you have a ton of fun and eat and drink. They're also pretty unique folks with all kinds of backgrounds. You guys typically love the guides. And they're also pretty good at keeping you distracted and your mind off that haul out on your way out of the canyon. Here we're used to doing the hard part of hikes first. We hike up to the top of something, look out, pat ourselves on the back, have a little treat, and then turn around and do the easy part second. A canyon is exactly the opposite. You're gonna spend a good portion of the day hiking down to here, have a little snack and a little rest, and then turn around and have to climb back up that canyon wall. It is quite the task, but when you get back to the rim of the canyon, there is nothing like that sense of accomplishment. To stand on the rim, look out over the canyon, point to where you were and say, I did that. Every year, millions of people visit the Grand Canyon. Only 5-ish% actually go below the rim. So you'll join an elite group today as you hike in and out of the canyon. So this next little slide has been passed down from director to director. If you've ever been to a slideshow before or know someone who has, they've probably seen this. It's a really bad pun. I actually wondered whether I should keep it in this little online thing because there's nobody here to pity laugh for me. I'm in my empty living room. So, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Are you ready for it? All right. That's agony on her face, and those are defeat. I'm gonna imagine that you guys at home are just laughing out loud at that. It is quite possible that your feet will look like this at the end of the day. You're gonna wear comfy shoes, but they might betray you and you might end up with a blister or 2. So, I know you worked super hard in the canyon today. So when you get to the rim, I'm gonna get up out of my chair. I'm gonna come over to you, give you a big old hug, serve you up some nice cold lemonade, which is extra good because you've been drinking warm canyon water all day. And then the staff is going to drive you back to camp. You're going to be able to take a shower. You thought you got tan, but it's actually canyon dirt and it just washes off. And then the staff is going to feed you a great meal tonight. And tomorrow morning, if you want, I will get you up to see the sunrise. I don't know if you follow us on Instagram. If you don't, you should. TCTW, the original. But we took some advice from past participants a week or so ago, and one of the pieces of advice was, if you have the opportunity to get up and do something, do it. And I'm pretty sure they were talking about this sunrise in particular. So hop up, we'll go see the sunrise. Arizona doesn't practice daylight savings time, so the sunrise is super early there, like 5:12 in the morning. So even if you get up and do this, you can come back to camp, go to sleep for a little while, and when you're ready, you just give the signal, and the staff will bring you the best breakfast in bag you've ever had. Maybe the only breakfast in bag you've ever had, but the French toast will be on point this morning. The pampering ends there. We got to get back to on our normal schedule, so we'll head over and say a final goodbye to the canyon before heading over to Sedona. This is another great little western town that's a lot different than Durango. It's nestled right in the heart of Red Rock country. We will head up to Chapel of the Holy Cross, which is a beautiful church built right into the side of the Red Rock formations. It's really unique because you can kind of drive by it and miss it, but at the same time, like once you see it, it's amazing that it just sort of like works into the landscape how it does. We'll head down into town after that. You can knock around a little bit. Great place to pick up some socks for your sockos. I don't know if there is a good sock and Teva combination, so my challenge to you is to come on the first day of TCTW and have a good one for me. I mean, we got sockos, we got Birkenstocks, so work on that Teva one. There's also a fun little petting zoo right in town. There's a man who just hates that so many people are afraid of snakes and reptiles. So he has all kinds that you can pet and hold there in town. Don't worry, if you're not into snakes and bearded dragons, oh, I just realized that Ethan has a snake and a bearded dragon. If you're not into the reptiles, there's also a Great Dane, so you can get a little puppy fix today if you need it as well. So tonight, we don't have a campsite listed. There are a couple times on the trip when we drive through the night. These places are typically pretty hot, so it's easier on our vehicles and ultimately on us if we do that in the evening. So tomorrow morning, you're gonna wake up all the way on the West Coast. We've made it to California. Our time here is gonna start in San Diego, and you have some choices today. You'll be able to go to the San Diego Zoo, world famous zoo. You can see any animal you wanna see there. If you don't want to do that, you can stay and hang out on the beach, like Mary Claire here. We'll head up into the town of Coronado, which is a swanky little California town, have a little lunch, check out the shops, and we'll all come back together this evening for a little volleyball, a little flag football, a little hanging out. We'll have dinner on the beach and take in our only sunset all the way on the West Coast. You can't get any farther west than sitting on the beach in California. So, this next day of the trip, I feel a little guilty about saying this. I love the Tetons, and Utah has a big old piece of my heart, but tomorrow is probably my favorite day of the trip, and that is because we are going to Disneyland, where dreams come true and magic is real. We're gonna get there pretty early in the morning, and you'll be able to ride Big Thunder Mountain, the Matterhorn, Space Mountain, the teacups. You can meet a princess, battle it out at the new Galaxy's Edge Star World War, and ride the Millennium Falcon. Is that the right name for it? I have never watched a Star Wars movie, but I still thought that the Star Wars land was pretty darn cool. This picture, especially this part right here, this one here with Alexa, that pretty much sums up my favorite part about Disney, which is all of the things shaped like Mickey's head. I like to eat my way through the park. Ice cream, pretzels, turkey legs. If they figure out a way to make a turkey leg look like Mickey's head, I will be ecstatic. yeah, so a great day in the park. We'll come together, watch the fireworks over the castle, and then head over to the lagoon and watch Fantasmic, which is going to take you on a journey, a laser light show on a journey through Mickey's imagination. That's probably my favorite part of the whole day. And then as a big old group, we'll run and ride my favorite ride, Indiana Jones, and then cut across the park, ride Space Mountain, and we'll wrap the day up with a little bit of ice cream at Gibson Girls Parlor on Main Street. You are going home tired tonight because we are shutting the park down at like 1 a.m. So we'll have a leisurely start tomorrow morning as we make our way over to Hollywood Boulevard. There you'll be able to hop out and find your favorite celebrity star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We got a little Shrek love here, and I absolutely love it that these guys sought out the queen, Britney Spears. I love some Britney Spears. And if you're super lucky today, you will be able to score the newest album from the hottest, newest up-and-coming recording artist right there on the street of Hollywood. They're going to be handing them out, those CDs. And if one of y'all is nice enough to pitch them $5, we'll listen to that on our way over to Santa Monica. I love this afternoon of the trip. When you think of a California beach town, Santa Monica is probably what you're picturing in your head. Big beaches, huge palm trees, great little boardwalk where people are going to be riding their bikes and skateboarding, pulling those bulldogs along. You can head up to Muscle Beach by the pier and give it a go on the rings and the ropes. Watch them slackline there. Hop out on the pier and you can ride a roller coaster and a Ferris wheel over the ocean. Pretty darn neat. It's also a great place to pick up some local eats. These guys are at my favorite spot, Cha Cha Chicken. Yeah, it's a great way to spend this afternoon. And tonight we're sleeping at El Capitan State Beach, which is a great campground nestled right on the coast. You can fall asleep to the sound of the ocean tonight. And we are back to early mornings tomorrow as we make our way up the coastal highway. Highway 1. We're going to travel from sea level to hundreds of feet above sea level as we drive through the mountains that line the California coast. Guaranteed wildlife spotting today. These big old elephant seals are always hanging out on the beach, so we will stop and say hey to them. This will be the view out your window today. Pretty spectacular. And tonight you'll lay your head down amongst some tall, tall trees at Big Basin State Redwood Forest. So, you've heard me say lots of times, early morning, and I promise to wake you up so sweetly that you won't even hate me. You'll probably even miss it when the trip is over. But tomorrow morning, when I wake you up, you want to pop up as quickly as possible and hop in the van. Because the quicker we get out of camp, the less traffic we sit in, and the more time you're going to have in San Francisco. And this is a fan favorite day. We'll start the morning off in Chinatown. Chinatown has everything you can imagine, and then things you probably have never imagined. You can get all of your souvenir shopping done there today with a good little bargaining and haggling. You can also pick up some authentic Chinese food before headed over to Haight-Ashbury. This is where the hippie revolution sort of flourished and thrived. Very vintagey, retro, a lot of great murals in this part of town. There's even a shop that'll glitter bomb you when you're there. And then, of course, lots of San Francisco-y things. You can check out Lombard Street, the crookedest street in America. You can drive down it. We don't take the vans and trailers down. That would be torture for the staff. You can hit up the wharf, all kinds of cool stuff there. Get yourself a bread bowl with some clam chowder, look at the seals, check out Ghirardelli Square. You're also gonna work on those map reading skills today, so you can add that to your college resume afterwards. Then we'll head over and take a walk across the Golden Gate Bridge and wrap that up with dinner at In-N-Out Burger. So you can get a double animal style if you want. Look up that secret menu before you come out west so you know what you want. This is us by the Golden Gate Bridge. She was nice and pretty, no fog on her today, which is always nice. And then I told you guys that our singer-songwriter friend would pop up again. Steve lives in the Bay Area, and he is kind enough to host us tonight and to play a little concert for us. So we will wrap up a great day with a little live music. And tomorrow, we are going to a place that just makes my heart happy. Green grass, blue skies, huge stone mountains, and big old waterfalls. Yosemite. When we get there, you can take a hike up to the base of the falls like Kaylin here, or just find yourself a nice little spot along the Merced River to go swimming. I'll warn you, the water here is very, very cold, and that is because it was snow not too long ago. On our way out of the park, we'll make a stop at the Tuolumne Grove of giant sequoias. So the redwoods we slept in a couple nights ago were big, but these guys are way, way bigger. So big that at one point you could drive a car through them. This picture shows it pretty nicely. We learned that when you cut tunnels through trees, it kills them. So we don't do that anymore. We'll make the little hike down there. And bad joke alert, of course, this is the day that our tree huggers come out of the woodwork. Again, not sure if I'm going to put a laugh track over this, but I'm just going to imagine that you guys laughed at that at home. We have another desert drive tonight, and we will wrap that up tomorrow morning in Vegas. We're only here for breakfast, just long enough for you to stuff your face with some pancakes, and then we are back on the road. So, I get asked every year if the trip is the same from year to year. And for the most part, yes, the route that I went on as a teenager is very much the route that you'll go on this summer. But occasionally things happen and we have to reroute and have a little detour. So this past summer on first trip, there was a lot of late snow in the west, and one of the roads that we take through Yosemite was still closed because of snow. So we just made a little detour and cut over to Utah earlier. We headed into Vegas, and on our way in stopped at 7 Magic Mountains, which is this really unique art installment right outside of town. 7 towers of colorful boulders, right in like the desolate desert background. Pretty cool. Then we headed over to camp for the night, which Utah has 5 phenomenal national parks, but they have a whole network of state parks that are just awesome. And we got to stay in one of those, Snow Canyon State Park. We were driving in, and it was almost like we were driving into a movie set. It looked so surreal. When we got there, we had a little evening hike, had a great dinner, and then the next morning, if you wanted, I got you up to go have a little sunrise hike. So I would love for things to go on schedule all of the time, but it's kind of fun when we get to do something a little different and something that no other trip has done before. So if things change, I promise we'll figure out something fun to do. So we're back on schedule in Utah. We're heading over to Bryce Canyon, and this is a great day. The Grand Canyon gets all the glory, but Bryce is spectacular. And I think one of the things that's so great is that none of us really know about Bryce Canyon. So when you get there, you're like, wow. A short hike, 3-ish miles, will get you down, in, and back out. You'll be able to see all of those hoodoos and Thor's Hammer. We'll have a little fireless campfire on the rim of Bryce, and head over to Red Canyon to sleep tonight. I think the stars are best in Red Canyon. Utah has very little light pollution and lots of certified dark sky areas. So all the stars will be turned on tonight as you lay down to go to bed. This next day, we spend in the Salt Lake City area, and it's sort of evolved over the past couple of years. We've done a handful of different things. We've gone into the city, we've gone out to Antelope Island, which is right in the Great Salt Lake, and if you've never been swimming in a super salty body of water, it is a very unique experience. This past summer, we did something else a little different. On our way out of Snow Canyon, Susanna on my van recognized a fountain as being in the High School Musical movie. And the van got super excited. And that was when I decided that we were gonna go check out East High School in Salt Lake City. So we headed over to the high school. On second trip, we got to go in. Probably my best moment of the summer was watching how much everybody loved running around East High School. So we may do that again. Who knows? We'll see what the day holds this summer. And then we will end up at Bear Lake this evening. We'll have dinner together, go swimming, take in a little sunset, hit up the sunrise tomorrow morning on the lake, and then head into what's likely going to be your favorite couple days of the trip. We've made it to Wyoming. We're going to head over to Jackson and to Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, a ski resort in the winter. In the summer, they have mountain biking and hiking and a via ferrata. And we're going to hop on the aerial tram there. It's a pretty big tram. 100 of us could squeeze on there and ride up these cables to the top of Rendezvous Mountain, 10,450 feet above sea level. And when you get up there, 360-degree views of awesomeness. Look out one way and you see all over Idaho. Look out the other and you can see all of the valley known as Jackson Hole. You can see multiple mountain ranges at one time. There's also a great little waffle shop up there, Top of the World Waffles. I always like to ask folks what their favorites are. My favorite is lemon. There's a peanut butter bacon, a strawberry Nutella, cinnamon sugar. And I've heard that they're doing a feature waffle of the month this year, so I'm excited to see what that is when we get there. We'll have a picnic lunch and then head down into the town of Jackson. Jackson is a touristy little place, but we love it. Moms, dad, brothers, and sisters, if you get a souvenir, it's likely it'll say Wyoming or Jackson's Hole or have the little Wyoming Bronco on it. In town there, they have these arches made of antlers. Antlers are serious business in the West. It's also a great place to pick up a onesie if you're in need of that. And we are headed into probably the coldest couple nights of the trip. We'll head over to Grovant Campground, which is inside Grand Teton National Park. We'll be able to see the Tetons from our campsite tonight, and we'll take in a little sunset, have a little dinner, and tomorrow you have all day to explore the Coulter Bay area. This is a day that everybody loves. You can go hiking around the lake, you can rent a canoe or a powerboat, or you can just sit and bask in the majesty that are the Tetons. If this is all we did today, it's likely that it would be your favorite day of the trip. But we got a lot left this afternoon. For dinner, we'll either hit up Dornan's Chuck Wagon, which is it's a cowboy buffet, essentially. They have these big vats of beef stew and mashed potatoes and carrots, and it's slung over an open fire to cook. They typically have some live music there as well. This past summer, we ate pizza on the shore of Coulter Bay there and absolutely loved that. Then we're gonna meet Barker Ewing for a float trip tonight. This is a really unique way to take in the Tetons. We're gonna float along the Snake River right along the base of the mountains there. Catch a little sunset tonight, and this is also going to be one of our better chances to see wildlife. There's a really healthy population of bald eagles along the portion of the Snake River that we float, and let me tell you, there is something magical about seeing one of these guys up in a tree or soaring across the river. Ask me about the cool experience I had seeing eaglets and a mommy eaglet and some ravens and some fish eating on the side of the river. I'd love to tell you about it. When we're lucky, we get to see a moose too. We did see one this past summer, and when the stars align, we also get to see a bear. This is a little cinnamon guy that we saw. This wasn't last summer, it was the summer before. This is also my favorite way to see bears because we're in the boat, they're on the banks, there's no way we're gonna interact, but I always love to see them. And you'll all get to see my favorite animal today, which is the beaver. So you'll see them being all industrious on the side, maybe grabbing a snack or something to take back and add to their little homes, their dams. You'll see a few of them along the river there. If you went on first trip this past summer, you're kind of like, oh, this isn't what our days looked like. And that's true. We did things a little differently. We went to a rodeo in Jackson and swap some things off later on in the trip. So I will catch up on that detour a little bit later and show you what they got to do in place of this float trip. The next day, we'll say goodbye to the Tetons and head next door to Yellowstone, our first national park. We'll probably have to slow down and stop today to let some of these big guys, the bison, cross the road. They're always holding up traffic in the park. We'll make a stop at Lewis Falls and then head to camp at Shoshone National Forest tonight. Cody is a great day, and you have lots of choices today. You can head into town and check out a Western museum there. It's actually 5 museums all combined into one. Just knock around town. You can get up and go hiking in the Shoshone National Forest, or you can go rafting today. This past summer, I'm pretty sure almost everyone went rafting. It was a popular activity. No matter how you spend the morning, you're gonna wanna make time to get a bison burger today in town and also hit up the Bargain Box, which is the local thrift store. Why do you need to go to the thrift store? Well, you need an outfit for tonight because we are going to the Cody Night Rodeo. Cody loves rodeos. They're famous for them. They have one every day, Memorial Day through Labor Day. The best cowboys come to the Cody Rodeo. We're there on a Friday night, so it's a great show. If you've never been to a rodeo, it's really cool. You get to see cowboys do all kinds of cowboy things like ride broncos and bulls and rope steer in the ladies barrel race and rope some calves. These two pictures are from the Jackson Rodeo, which was pretty cool. And then this is our typical spot over at Cody. The rodeo can be interactive, so go down there, have fun. They love to play tricks on you. I won't remind you of that when we get there because it's fun for us, for someone to go down. And yeah, I can always guess what the ladies are gonna look like coming back from the thrift store. You're gonna have lots of bandanas, you're gonna have braids, plaid, jean shorts, shirts tied up, cowboy hats. The boys, I never know. I never know what it's gonna look like. I guess this is what we think cowboys look like. I've never actually seen a real cowboy in shorts though. I think they gotta have long pants on to protect their legs. And if you're super adventurous at the rodeo, you can give it a go on the bull yourself. We'll wrap up that change of events from first trip. We went to the rodeo in Jackson. So this evening, instead of going to the rodeo in Cody, we headed over to Mount Rushmore, and then we spent the night in the Badlands. So we traded off a float trip for 2 additional national parks. And waking up in the Badlands was cool. We got there at night, so it was dark, and when you woke up the next morning, it was almost like you were in a different world. Very, very unique and cool to see. So we had our final desert drive, and that next morning you're waking up somewhere bizarre. Wall Drug, South Dakota. I don't like to give too much info about Wall because I like you to just kind of experience and take it in when you get there. We'll stop for breakfast, and who knows, you might end up in the backyard riding a jackalope or a bronco with your buddy. It's day 20. Our time together is coming to a close, so we will commemorate that a little bit. We will get all cleaned up. I think we look pretty darn nice for 20 days of camping and have a little cookout together and reminisce and just sort of celebrate this experience. The next day we'll cut through Wisconsin. Can't do that without making a stop at the cheese store. When we get there, if you're overwhelmed by the hundreds and hundreds of cheeses in this store, come find me. I'm a cheese connoisseur. I love cheese, and I will ask for as many samples alongside you as you want. I carry around a fancy cheese knife just for this day. I will also share my crackers with you if you share your cheese with me. And it's day 21, so you don't have money left for crackers. So share, share, share. We'll have a little ice cream, head over to camp, and then tomorrow we have our last big stop of the trip. That's in Chicago. We stop here for breakfast. You can hit up a local little shop or cafe and then head down to the Bean, which is this big reflective bean-like structure. Cool little stop, and then we're making our way to West Virginia tonight. And tomorrow, day 23, forever in a flash of an eye, we are back home in North Carolina. So to call this undertaking a tour is an unavoidable simplification. The staff and I are going to try to make it something much, much more than that. It's going to be an experience that leads to your awareness of others and of your surroundings. Your senses are going to be key to the discovery of this great country, its proud people, its productiveness, and its majesty, but ultimately the discovery of oneself. So we're going to travel over 7,000 miles together in 23 days, check off 21 states, 7 national parks, lots of state parks, share 67 meals, come home with 44 new friends and 2 sore feet, but there's only one Teens Camping Tour of the West. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you made it all the way through. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can follow us on Instagram, TCTW, the original, or on Facebook as Teens Camping Tour of the West. You can find my phone number in either of those places. My email is sassy, S-A-S-S-Y, @tctw.com. Please reach out. I know you still might have lots of questions after this, and I will do my best to answer all of those, but I hope this gave you a good idea of the places we'd go and sort of the vibe and the feel of everything. I look forward to meeting you guys, and hopefully you travel out west with us.